Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Health Chats Among Friends. My name is Deidre Kindred. I'm a nurse advocate, educator, and navigator. And tonight on our podcast, I get the pleasure of speaking with my good friend, Brent, in Good Hands BLS again, because he's been here before, giving us some great tips on CPR. So, Brent, let's say hi and introduce
Hey
yourself.
everybody, how's it going? My name's Brent Bosquet, co-founder of IGH Health Fire and Safety, and we actually had the name change. I think since we last talked, it went from In Good Hands BLS to IGH Health Fire and Safety, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little more in detail here shortly. But yeah, I co-founder along with Janet Edwards. She's a RN over at JPS, and absolutely. We started with CPR training, especially in the healthcare field, and IGH has definitely started to grow since then. My background's in the fire service. I'm sure if your listeners listen to our past podcasts, they'll know I did 8 years with Arlington as a firefighter and advanced EMT, along with, hazmat tech, trench rescue, vehicle rescue, a whole lot of different specialties. So had a lot of great years there. And I was able to, about 2 years ago, depart from Arlington and, strive for other goals. And we're here today with IGH and looking forward to speaking with you.
Well, that's awesome. So expansion and growth is what I hear in this podcast. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely.
So are you guys still at the same location or what?
So actually, for anybody that had been to our old office and location, which was over off Clover and 30, is older location, of course, but we have actually moved since then. We've relocated to Northeast Fort Worth, over off of 820 and near Randall Mill. Now we've got about a 1,600 square foot training facility, along with the ability to train around 20 or 24 people at a time for all of your CPR, AD, and first aid, advanced cardiovascular life support, basic life support. So now we've got a little bigger office. We've got some workshop space, a nice classroom. So we are awesome. Moving along every day for sure.
Oh, congratulations. I love growth. I love growth and expansion. Oh, so it's off of Randall Mill and 820.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wonderful. I'll make sure, because when it comes time for me to renew, which will be next year,
yeah, absolutely. We will be here. We signed our lease back in August for a minimum of 2 years, and hopefully by then we'll have the same problem of we're outgrowing our space. So
that's a great problem.
Let's see where that goes. Yeah,
that's a great problem. Oh, I'm so happy for you. So health, fire, and safety. So with your background, that's really a great benefit. So tell me a little bit about that. So what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so, over the last year or two, Jan and I have kind of put our heads together, and we've decided to go ahead and continue to expand the business. And what we've kind of done is divided it up into 3 different pillars now. And of course, it's in the name, health, fire, and safety. And under the health, that is still going to involve our CPR, AD, and first aid training, along with basic life support and advanced cardiovascular life support for healthcare providers. And so that'll never change. That's our bread and butter, and that's where our passion started, was definitely educating the public and healthcare professionals and what it's like to truly do CPR and, what they're really going to see. So that'll always be a part of IGH, and we still enjoy doing that. But on top of that, along with the health side, we've also started including AD and first aid cells. And so we offer around 6 to 8 different brands of ADs and different models, of course, along with different first aid equipment that, for businesses and organizations that may be OSHA regulated, or who, just want to provide better protection for their employees or congregations of churches. So we've done a lot of that on the health side, which has been great. And then on the fire side, we've actually started to expand into fire protection. And so, with my background in the fire service, I've got a lot of knowledge in it, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while with IGH. And so now we've started kind of on the mechanical side of fire protection. And so when I say that, it's kind of all of your fire extinguishers, fixed kitchen systems, and eventually we'll expand into whole building systems like fire pumps and fire sprinklers. That's a little down the road, but our goal is to provide sales, service, and maintenance of all of your fixed and portable kitchen systems and all of your fire extinguishers for any and all organizations and businesses that may need that, along with all of their CPR, AED, and first aid training or equipment.
Yeah, one-stop shopping. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the goal. And what I want people to know too is when they're talking with us at IGH, it's not just if they're talking to an owner, it's not just the owner of a business. Most of the time, all the time, you're either talking to me or Janet with extensive knowledge and expertise in the field. And it's definitely important to us. I actually got off the phone with one of my clients about 45 minutes ago, and I said the same thing. I was like, 50% of my job is education, and that's the way it should be. It's, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and kind of our job is to not only explain it, but to also equip the public and anybody else that may need it.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. So if I'm a business owner and I'm looking for an AED, what would be some tips that, I would need to look for? Because let's pretend I don't know anything about AEDs.
Well, that is a really good question, because we've run into a lot of problems with AEDs, specifically in the last 3 or 4 months. And it's not the business owners that are having these issues. It's just, I would say, the lack of education and knowledge of them, right? The problem is most people can go out online and buy certain AEDs without knowing, kind of their limitations or capabilities. And so I've noticed that we'll go out to these different locations or, wherever our clients may be, and they'll have an AED on the wall and they're like, hey, this is our AED. It's great. And then I'm like, well, it's not. I was like, because you didn't read the fine print of the detail. And I don't necessarily blame it on them. But the problem is different companies can provide or kind of market their AEDs when they're not as powerful or is not as strong as they should be for the general public. What I mean by that is there's a few different brands of AEDs out there that shock individuals at lower dosages that should be shocked at, right? And so, a typical adult dose, as in the healthcare field, when somebody's shocked, is between 3 and 360 joules of energy. Well, I'm finding that people are buying AEDs that are shocking less than half than that, 150 joules max, when really the minimum should be 200 if you're looking at different statistics from American Heart Association or different, boards of physicians. And so, what I would definitely say is when somebody's out there trying to find an AED that's going to, fit their business or their church, their office, whatever it may be, is one, find a trustworthy brand, but two, really dive into the specifics and specifications, right? Or ask somebody that may know a little more detail into them, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of AEDs that, in my opinion, are almost like toys because they don't provide, energy. And so just educating yourself on that. Definitely not going with the cheapest brand would probably be one of
I was getting ready to say that's almost a false sense of security. Well, it is. It's not almost. Absolutely. Because if you're saving costs by buying a brand that's cheaper, and then you get into a situation where you're trying to save somebody's life and it's not enough oomph.
Yep, absolutely. And so, any AD, and an easy way to put this would be any AD that you buy should come with a physician prescription. It must, to be a quality AD that's going to work, that's a true medical device that you can depend on. And there's a ton out there. There's a lot of great brands. Like I said, we offer between 6 and 8 different ones. And also along with that is finding the right one for you, because most people think, oh, an AD is an AD. Well, some are bilingual. Some, especially here in Texas, Spanish is our second language. And so some will have Spanish. Well, as we know, in Arlington has a large Vietnamese population.
Oh, yeah.
So there's other ADs that have Vietnamese capabilities.
Oh, that's
along with
awesome.
knowing, yeah, right. And so along with knowing your kind of, who's going to be in your business and office, because as we know, all AD pads have adult pads, but do you also need to buy child pads for those AEDs that are going to work, for the smaller children? And so there's a lot of different variables, but definitely educating yourself on the AEDs. And, kind of a little plug here is I actually have a blog post about picking the right AED and, what to kind of look for when choosing an AED. And so that's on our website. I'm sure I can plug that at the end of this.
Please.
Podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think that would be great to kind of give people the idea of, hey, this is what it does and this is how it works.
Oh, that's wonderful. So let's say I'm a homeowner and I am looking for a fire extinguisher for my home. How many should I have? What should I look for?
Yeah, so that's a great question too. What I do, and this was actually another conversation I had earlier, what I always recommend, and it kind of follows regulations and guidelines. So for fire protection here in Texas, it's not a law that you're required to have a fire extinguisher in your home. It is definitely recommended though. And so what I tell people, for your average home, you should have a fire extinguisher available for every 1,500 square feet of your home. Or within 75 feet of distance. So anywhere in your home, you should be within 75 feet of an extinguisher. And so what I definitely recommend is if you have a 1,500 square foot home, at least one extinguisher. At the same time, it should be at least a 5-pound extinguisher, which is kind of your normal size.
Yeah.
There is a smaller one that are made for vehicles only. But got a 5-pound extinguisher that's rated for A, B, and C fires, which is your typical combustibles, your flammable liquids, and then your electrified fires in case your panel in your garage sparks or, catches fire. That'd be useful there. Now, something else on that line too, that's very important for people to realize is these typical ABC extinguishers are not to be used for cooking oils. That's a huge one. There's a special extinguisher for that. It's called a Class K extinguisher, and that's specifically for cooking oils. As we know, grease can definitely light up a kitchen pretty quickly, and there's only a few things that'll really extinguish that. It's either a ton of water, which a fire truck would handle, or your Class K extinguisher, right? And so it's important for people to realize that, because I'm sure, there's more than one person out there that would use a typical ABC extinguisher on a cooking oil fire and realize it's not working very well.
Whoa, yes, that would be bad. So do you put that on your blog as well, like tips about fire extinguishers?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a lot of different blog posts that come from me and Janet, ranging from our CPR classes, what's the difference between a public CPR, BLS, and ACLS class, to what is the AD and how does it work, to choosing the right fire extinguisher and picking your fire protection company, right? So and that comes straight from us too, and it's something important that I tell people is these blog posts and what I put out there and what Janet puts out there, it comes straight from a firefighter and a nurse. It doesn't come from the owner of IGH. There's no politics. This is what people need to hear to protect themselves or to protect others. And so that's what our kind of goal has been with those blog posts.
What a great way to advocate.
Thank you.
I just think it's a great way to advocate, because education is key.
Absolutely.
So
I
if
think I've
someone
learned
wanted,
something, one or two
uh-huh.
things from you. Over the years, right?
From me.
Yeah, yep, yep.
So if someone wanted to find out more about your blog, which I suggest they do, what is the best way for them to reach out to you to learn about your classes, to get on your blog post, to find out more about, your location and things like that? What's
Yeah,
the best way?
absolutely. So we've got a few different ways, of course. The best way to find the most information would definitely be through our website, which is www.igh-hfs.com. Stands for In Good Hands, Health, Fire, and Safety. You can also find us on all of your social media platforms, from Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn, and Google My Business is another good one too. And while we haven't dove into TikTok yet, those would be the best way to find us, and all of them on there. You can find us by searching IGH Health, Fire, and Safety, and we post a lot of good different educational posts through our social media. But like I said, through our website, you can find our blog posts, you can read more information about IGH, you can find our location, sign up for classes, schedule service appointments. And so, it's a great tool to use. And that being said too, I reiterate it all the time. People have any questions, and I'm sure just like you tell people, my cell phone's on 24/7. I'm here to help and educate and to provide for our community. It's important to me and it always will be. And so anytime people have questions, they're more than free to give me a phone call or send me an email, which, it's info@igh-hfs.com. And, I do my best to get back to everyone, as soon as I can, because it's my passion, and I enjoy it. And just like, I can easily see your passion with your work. So yeah, it's great.
Oh, that's awesome. I had so many more questions, but we're running out of time.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
Because when you said service, was like, okay, so what type of service requests are you?
Yeah. And so we schedule service appointments mainly for our fire protection, but of course for AEDs and first aid equipment as well. But if a business owner wants us to come in, of course they're required to have fire protection equipment. They can fill out the little online contact form and schedule a service where we come out to the facility to provide service, inspections, maintenance, repairs on their fire protection equipment. And along with that, make sure their AEDs are up and running, everything's good, along with their first aid equipment. And so our goal there is to keep service fees low, because I think it's important for this to be, reachable by all. It's important for me, and that's, how we're able to get out there and go out to, all over the Metroplex now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Brent, for your time. Thank you for In Good Hands, BLS, and HFS.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you.
Because what you're doing is awesome.
Thank you. And, I always look forward to this podcast. It's a great way to get information out. And you always do a wonderful job being a great host. So anytime.
My pleasure. My pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes,
well,
ma'am.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Health Chats Among Friends, where we bring you reputable resources from our local communities. Tune in next time for another amazing chat and another amazing guest. Bye.